News when you want it with Bloomberg News Now. I'm Amy Morris. President Trump's deadline has come and gone for a naval blockade of Iranian ships near the Strait of Hormuz. In a social media post after that 10 a.m. window closed, the president promised to eliminate Iranian fast attack ships that come close to the blockade. Bloomberg's Dan Williams with more from Jerusalem.
What Trump appears to have done now is turn the tables, basically announcing that it's free traffic for all or free traffic for none. This American blockade would apply to ships that call in Iranian ports. Other ships would not be stopped, presumably. Also, ships carrying aid, humanitarian goods would be allowed through after inspections, it would appear.
Bloomberg's Dan Williams reports Iran, for its part, has threatened to target all ports in and near the Persian Gulf if its shipping hubs are threatened. Bloomberg Intelligence senior defense research analyst Wayne Sanders says both sides are playing a game of chicken.
The U.S. has some leverage here, but it still puts Iran back into the ability to affect and interdict things that are going on near the straits as well, right? They still have some drone and ballistic missile capability. They still have threats of laying mines in the straits. So both sides right now are still kind of up in their game in terms of what they're trying to be able to accomplish.
Retired Colonel Wayne Sanders with Bloomberg Intelligence. European Investment Bank President Nadia Calvino says it's clear the Iran war will lead to lower global growth.
So the sooner this war is over, the sooner we will be able to get on with the recovery and trying to reestablish the path on which we were before of a stronger growth and shared prosperity.
Calvino spoke on Bloomberg's Open Interest. Pope Leo says he doesn't fear the president, citing the gospel as he pushes back in a feud over the U.S.-Israel war in Iran. Trump says he does not believe the Pope is doing a very good job and that he's a very liberal person. Pope Leo stressed he's not making a direct attack against President Trump and that his message of peace and reconciliation is rooted in the gospel. Hungary's Prime Minister-elect Peter Magyar accuses outgoing Foreign Minister Peter Szijjártó of destroying documents related to European Union sanctions, as he pledged to put an end to the country's cozy ties with Russia.
They are currently destroying documents that have to do with the sanctions. Just like in the old communist age, shredders are working full-time, not only in ministries but also the other background institutions, but that's not going to help.
Magyar says Hungary would no longer be a Russian puppet state, but would return to Europe, and he would work constructively with Brussels to unlock EU funds, saying that Hungary will not stand in the way of a €90 billion loan to Kyiv. Goldman Sachs shares fell after that bank reported a surprise drop in bond trading revenue despite a record quarter from the firm's equities team. Goldman Sachs chairman and CEO David Solomon.
2026 began with a degree of optimism. Markets hit record highs and confidence continued to build, with most clients focused on growth, strategic activity, and capital deployment. And as the quarter progressed, the macro environment started to weigh on sentiment.
The bank's fixed income, currency, and commodities revenue was $4.01 billion for the first quarter, more than $800 million below the consensus of analyst estimates. Shares of Goldman Sachs more than 3% lower. Lululemon shares fell after the Texas Attorney General said his office is investigating the company for the presence of forever chemicals in the yoga wear brand's apparel. The probe will examine whether Lululemon's athletic apparel contains PFAS or forever chemicals that their health-conscious consumers would not expect based on the brand's marketing. The Texas Attorney General's investigation is part of the Make America Healthy Again agenda. Lululemon shares are 1.5% lower. Investors see plenty of room for more volatility that has rocked asset prices in recent weeks, and we check those markets for you all day long here at Bloomberg. The S&P 500 is little changed on the upside. NASDAQ 0.25% higher. The Dow is 0.4% lower. The 10-year Treasury yield at 4.33%. The 2-year yield at 3.81%. And WTI crude is 6% higher, around $102 a barrel. Brent crude topping $101 a barrel, about 6.8% higher. Billionaire Bill Ackman has kicked off formal marketing for the U.S. initial public offering of his closed-end and hedge funds, even as the Iran war hits optimism around deal-making. Bailey Lipschultz is a senior equities reporter for Bloomberg News.
This has been something they've talked about for quite some time, so it kind of is a litmus test, if you will. There's obviously been a lot of debate. Why do people go public? What do they want to achieve? At least from the pitch for Pershing Square is to try to bring potential wealth to retail investors, but certainly a bit of the skeptics see this kind of similar to some of the other strategies we've seen the likes of a Carlyle or KKR take over the last decade or so.
Bloomberg's Bailey Lipschultz reports the IPO for Pershing Square USA is expected to price April 28th. The offering hopes to raise as much as $10 billion. A federal judge has dismissed President Trump's $10 billion defamation lawsuit against the Wall Street Journal and Rupert Murdoch over a story on his ties to Jeffrey Epstein. The judge ruled Trump had failed to make the argument that the article was published with the intent to be malicious. He did give the president a chance to file an amended complaint. That's news when you want it with Bloomberg News Now. I'm Amy Morris, and this is Bloomberg.